The Dearborn Independent, July 17th, 1926, Volume 26, Number 39. Mr. Ford's page. Of all parasites, the human species is the least tolerable. It is possible to find a reason in nature for every kind of parasite save the humankind. For there is no reason, natural or intended, which can excuse any man for not standing on his own feet. And yet, hosts are primarily to blame. The parasite cannot fasten safe where he is permitted to. Diseased germs can lodge only in an unhealthy body. Industrial parasites can lodge only in a business whose pulse is running below normal. The parasite is not an intake pipe, but a drain. Nor does he drain off waste. He drains the vigor and responsibility of his victim, be it man or business. There are men of whom we feel that, given even less than a common start, they would still have excelled over their fellows in the achievements of life. Their power is in themselves, not in their property. Their great possession is their personality. If they were stripped of all material goods and possession, they would merely have to exercise their innate creative power to attain again a commanding place. Some men are the creatures of others. This is honorable or shameful, depending on the character of the relationship. A great vision may be vouchsafed to one man, but it may require millions of men enlightened by his insight, energized by his faith, and directed by his wisdom to realize the vision in usable form. In a sense, these millions have found their place in life through the vision of one man. But their relation to him is honorable. They are fellow servants with him of the idea. They are working with him to bring to the plane of use what otherwise would remain an unbelieved vision. They are contributing toward the main object. The difference between parasites and contributing servants is sometimes not visible, but is nonetheless real. The parasite's motive points only one way, inward toward himself. As he says, he looks out for number one. Of course, he is mistaken on that. A man without a cause to serve, a work to do, a contribution to make in life is a cipher. He never is a number until he has his place of service in the world. The true number one is nothing else but a man's reason for living. Brian once said, "I am not a great man. Any of you young men can do as much as I have done. Whenever I saw a balloon going up, I caught hold of a rope. It is the cause I have enlisted in that have pulled me up with them." That illustrates how a man may share in success of a cause. But all that is different from the parasitism which attaches itself to the personal fortunes of another for the sake of its own. There seems to be a peculiar breed of human beings which keeps watch of persons who are likely to go far or who are conspicuously and fortunately situated, and they watch with selfish appraisal in their eyes for no higher purpose than to attach themselves somehow to that person's position, not for the sake of any service that they may render to it, but for what they may draw out of it for themselves. These are parasites whose main and only object in life is themselves. Their narrow social or financial ambitions are all based on a barnacle-like attachment to persons on whose favor they are dependent. These parasites are seldom of positive use to the person upon whom they have fastened. True, they could not maintain their place if they were positively repulsive, or if they didn't seem to justify their existence. But their pretended service is usually negative, if not actively enervating. To begin with, a parasite is not a high-minded character anyway. If he were, he would not be parasite he would demand to stand on his own feet. So that is perhaps unfair to blame him that his influence on his victim is bad. But the fact should be understood, even if the blame is withheld. One cannot blame a serpent for not being a lamb, but it is just as well to understand the difference between the two. The influence of the parasite usually runs towards an emphasis on the lighter side of life. He is more facile in laughter than in logic. Every parasite instinctively feels that he must be, in part, a court jester. His presence is known by his essential hostility to the serious things of responsibility. Responsibility is a serious thing, and one who bears it cannot make the lighter side of life anything but the mere margin or fringe of his existence. A man must be one thing or another. If a man of responsibility, he should measure shrewdly the influences which draw him into higher circles and interests. The parasite also destroys the sense of responsibility by developing the habit of living too much to George. There are two ways of destroying responsibility. First, by loading it up with too much detail. Second, by too continuously passing responsibility to others. The parasite may be a great modeler in details, but usually he is an apostle of delegating authority. In either case, he works to the same end, and his influence is bad. But as the moth cannot attack clothing where a careful housewife is, nor worms nor weather attack wood that is properly guarded by paint, nor rust the iron that is in use and cared for, so the parasite cannot fasten to anyone who is parasite-proof. In the last analysis, the parasites are not to blame, for it's their nature too. The blame must be given to the host that permits it. Healthy bodies offer no resting place for diseased parasites. It is so in social, industrial, and financial life. Health is a resistant and self-protective.